want to waste my time. Always 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 wanna waste my time.
Woo! That's how you come into a jam here in the attic. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andre Olivier, and you're here jamming in the attic. This is a show where we have local musicians on, local artists, and we find out what the fuck came into their head that made them think that they could make jams like that.
The audacity.
That's all it's about. To everyone who's already liked and followed the Attic Production so far online, I thank you very, very much. It's been a really cool journey, and it's not even the beginning. It's like the inception, the conception, if you will.
The baby.
Yeah. But anyway, here in the attic today, I have a very special guest. You may know him from the halls of HL in 2013. You may have known him from Downtown Homa, and you may know him as the lead singer of Hey Thanks. And his name is Travis Opal. How you doing, man?
That's the name. Please wear it out. Tire me.
It's so good to have you up here, man. This is like a dream come true.
Like I told you a million times, I fucking love the loft space.
Thanks.
Like the windows.
We call it the attic, but
Like natural
loft
lighting.
is acceptable as well.
The loft productions.
The loft production. It didn't sound as good, so that's why we vetoed it.
It just depends what state you're from, I guess, you know?
Yeah, you know.
But I agree.
But yeah, we're gonna get into it in a second. But I also want to mention that you may hear paparazzi roaming around the attic today. We've got our buddy Cameron here. He's running the camera. We
Yeah.
have some pictures for online. You want to say hey real quick?
Hey guys.
And that's it.
That's a wrap.
And that's a wrap. So, hey, man, I want to get into a whole bunch of stuff with you, but a little bit of background about me and Travis. We went to high school together back whenever I was starting my own guitar journey, trying to figure out what I was going to do.
And I was doing drugs.
And he was doing drugs.
Just kidding, kids.
And he was bringing his guitar around school. Those are some of my coolest, earliest memories from back at HL, is you coming around in alternate classes, and it's always a really loud and energetic song, and you were always like just pumped up all the time with a guitar.
Oh, dude.
If there's a day you didn't bring your guitar, you knew it was a bad day.
Yeah, I'm like the classic meme for, like, you know, white kid who brings a guitar to school or to party and ruins all the fun.
Like at
That's me.
at the frat party, but you're in a circle in the front lawn with.
But I'm wearing a Letterman jacket, so
Yeah.
they might think I'm a part of their team, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
the
kind of
angle.
how I get away with it.
So so why don't you tell me a little bit about like how you first got into music and why you started playing? And did you start playing guitar before you ever sang?
So pretty much like when I was going to elementary, like I used to mimic a lot of singers and just like sing for fun, but it wasn't something I took very seriously.
Like what kind of singers did you listen to?
This sounds really cringy, but the first singer like I officially was trying to like mimic or impersonate was fucking Ronnie Rackett from Escape the Fate, which is like
What kind of band is that?
Escape the Fate. They're like I don't know, like a alternative rock band. They've been around since I don't know, like 2000, early 2000s. Not a band I really listen to anymore, but when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade,
hell have it.
I was definitely jamming it out. But yeah, I started singing for fun, and a friend of mine, Justin, I had been going to school with him since we were in kindergarten, and he had picked up playing guitar in 4th grade because his dad plays guitar and writes his own music.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was hanging out with them one day, and Justin, I got very intrigued by it because, like, I was already singing and listening to music, and it was something that was kind of already becoming ingrained in my life. My mom used to own fucking Depeche Mode records and shit like that. So,
Really?
yeah, she was into Depeche Mode and stuff. So I was already listening to, like, a lot of her music and a lot of rap for some reason.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, like
90s?
Like 90s, early 2000s, like Mike Jones, whatever.
We talked about that the other day. They don't make rap music like the 90s, dude.
Just the production. It's just, I don't know, it just felt more organic back then.
Yeah.
But, yeah, aside from that, so back to the Justin story, I got intrigued with seeing him play guitar, and, like, he was my best friend, so, like, honestly, anything Justin did whenever we were young, like, I just was trying to, like, match that level of energy.
Right.
Because I wanted to be, like, where he was, So I think I had told him I wanted to learn, and he showed me, like, a couple of chords, and I struggled, like, learning the G chord for, months on end. I took a break from it, and then eventually one day I remember my mom just asking me, like, what's a gift I would want for my birthday, and I was just like, I don't know, just give me a guitar or something. And
like a first act kind of.
it was like I was like being a little picky asshole, and I wanted like a fucking I don't know, like I wanted something along the lines of like a Taylor, because I read up like best guitar, and I was like, I want the best guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And
right out the gate.
Yeah, funny story. She like bought this guitar. I had no actual knowledge of good and bad guitars, what made a guitar good, what made it bad, and she got me this guitar, and like pretty much she was like, yeah, this guitar costed $800. So I was like, oh shit, that's like amazing. And I came to find out like 2 years after that she had actually picked it up for like 180 and was just like lying to get me to like be like, yes, this is a great guitar.
Pulled one out from under you.
Yeah, so at the moment I was like kind of just being stubborn and mad, but it's really funny to look back on now, like how she like.
Yeah, played you.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah. It was funny as hell.
Not to get too far off topic, but I have to talk about real quick what my dad did to me not too long ago.
Let's go, man.
So, if there's one thing you could ever learn about my father in any amount of time you chose to study the man, is that his fixation with Madonna is no other. I don't think there's a fan club in existence from the 80s to now who love Madonna more than my father.
Oh my God.
So he's been trying, he knows how I am with music, and I don't think he understands the music I'm into, but he understands that I have a deep passion for like zeroing in on music. So he wants me to listen to all these Madonna songs so bad, and he gets on me and he's like, Andre, if you just understood the purpose of this piece.
Oh my God, dude.
Like, he gets on that level with Madonna. I always thought people just like groove to Madonna. No one ever like sat down and analyzed it.
Yeah, it was like a passive song in a car.
Exactly.
Just driving.
At a party somewhere in the back.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So that went on for a while. He gets back from vacation, and he comes to me with a sheet of printed out lyrics. And he goes, my friend on vacation, I told her that you were into music, and she gave me these lyrics, and she wrote a song, and she really wants you to critique it. I'm like, what the hell does she want me to critique with just, like, lyrics? Say these are good or bad lyrics? Lyrics could be anything. I'm like, my opinion doesn't matter. Why does your friend care what I think? It all sounded fishy. Anyway, I take him home. Like, weeks later, my dad comes to me, and he's like, hey, you ever checked out those lyrics? And I was like, I mean, I looked at them when you gave them to me, and that's pretty much the extent of it. And he was kind of upset, and he goes, they're Madonna lyrics. They're Madonna lyrics. And apparently, he printed out Madonna lyrics on his phone, and he wanted to give them to me and told me that they were his friend's lyrics, hoping that I would come back and be like, I don't know where these came from,
like,
but these are the best lyrics I've ever witnessed in my life. And he wanted me to go, oh, yep, that's Madonna. What kind of delusion thinks
that? Just and then it's like, and then all that's over with, and like what was gained from the situation if it would have happened the way he wanted it to?
He thought I was going to become a diehard Madonna fan on the spot.
But even then, like, say you did, like, what does that change for his life?
It gives it purpose, apparently.
Let it be known
Living
that
vicariously.
Madonna lyrics read completely out of context when you're just reading them are very.
Cameron was at my
Very fucked
apartment
up.
with me,
Jesus
and we
Christ.
actually looked at the lyrics, and they were strange. And me and Cameron were like trying to analyze, like, because it was getting kind of sexual, and it's like, how does my dad's friend just stumble upon these sexual lyrics?
And "Ooh
Dude.
baby" was every other line.
Ooh,
So we
baby.
were like, this lady on the cruise was really feeling it.
She was
This
feeling
really-
her
This is
cruise
going to be a
self.
little controversial, not really, but if you want to like look at weird lyrics, please look up Weezer. Like any
Really?
like any song from their I think it's on their second record, Pinkerton or what's it? I forget what the album's called. It's their second record though. Just go look at the lyrics on that, and if you want to cringe more, like
Really?
that's the spot to do it.
It's crazy
Yeah.
when you like take lyrics out of a really popular song and they're about something really crazy, but no one paid attention to know about it.
Yeah, because usually the beats, so uplifting.
Yeah. But we got way off topic. So we were talking about you just getting into music and
Talking about my mom ripping me off.
yeah.
All right, so back to
Didn't mean to make it about me.
back to the lineage,
Right,
No,
right.
No, I love that story. That's fucking funny as hell. I'm trying to think. So
You and Justin.
yeah, so I will say like, if it weren't for Justin being so close to me, I might have not ever even picked up an instrument to begin with because he was literally probably the first person I witnessed play an acoustic guitar in front of me, and like that kind of, I'm not gonna say it sparked this whole thought of like me wanting to be a musician and have a career and try to
Right.
do this serious, but it was the first step in the road to like getting farther in this addiction, as you will.
Mm-hmm. As you sip your coffee for the like
Don't
third cup today.
don't
You don't have a
don't
problem.
don't hate on me.
Nah,
This is I usually get to 7 and I stop, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not excessive.
Cam's looking at me really funny. Anyway, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much the inspiration for what got me started, and after that, going through middle school, I don't remember how it happened, but I remember joining my first little band. I'm sure like a lot of the homo folks down here.
Yeah.
No,
Was it a serious band or was it like everyone played an instrument and you called yourself a band?
Like, I think it was a little bit of both because like it wasn't serious because like when you get down to the root of it, like we were all 12 years old.
Right.
So like even if it
serious for 12.
even if it could have been the most serious thing, it wouldn't have been a thing.
Right.
So
No one can drive to practice.
yeah, like me literally, it's like I hope your mom's free today, bro. Like,
Everyone's parents on the same schedule.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet up.
yeah, absolutely. It's more like a parental hangout than.
And that was junior high, you're saying?
Yeah, I think I don't remember the exact year, but
Because we went to junior high together as well.
yeah, you went to Evergreen.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know the reference, most of these places we're talking about are outside of a town in Louisiana called Houma.
Homa.
So, if you are so interested in this conversation, feel free to check out Google Maps. They have
Yeah.
every location.
Google
possible.
Earth, you can get down to the street level.
You might be able to see us in this podcast right now.
Google is outside literally right now. The camera's flipping them
Oh
off.
shit, dude.
That's how we roll. Yeah, man.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's really interesting. So you had a passion for singing, kind of. You just because everyone I talked to who started singing, they just started doing it naturally, and that's how they knew they could become singers.
Yeah, mine was weird. So nobody in my family actually has a whole lot of musical background besides my mom used to sing a lot in plays when she was younger. But as far as anything else, I just got kind of obsessed with music at a young age, listening to it and like jamming it out. I got so obsessed to the point where when I was in 4th grade, I had a jacket that had fucking speakers built inside of it. So like that's how much I just wanted to listen to music all the time.
How does that work? Where were the speakers?
They literally like they had the wiring inside of the jacket, so the speakers would be in the hoodie. So when you put the hoodie on,
yeah.
I used to have one of those. So music was always like a big ordeal for me, and it didn't really come to light for how serious I wanted to be about it until around high school.
Right. But ever since Evergreen, that's I don't think you ever really brought around the guitar in Evergreen, or maybe I'm mistaken, but you definitely sang a lot to like.
Back in my church days, whenever I used to.
Is that
be
you
in chur-
were
I used to
kind of
be
a Christian dude?
I was
huh?
like a little Christian boy for about 3 years.
Everyone had the same cross pendant, but it was wrapped in the little wire.
Yeah, I kind of always wonder who sold all those.
Right.
who made the money? These poor children. But yeah, I started liking it, and then I wouldn't say I was naturally always a good singer because like
I beg to differ.
I think when I started my journey in like trying to sing, it started off with a lot of like I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, but imitation, getting artists that you really enjoy and just literally trying to be the essence of that. I went through phases of literally like 4 different singers I could say I was trying to sound like until like, eventually I started just letting the influences of all of it kind of combine itself to be what it needs to be.
Right.
But I never had training at any kind of young age. I just really tried to mimic like the sounds on the songs. I wouldn't say I'm a professional or anything like that.
In other words, you learn by ear.
Yeah, I learned by ear. I mean, to this day, I still I can only name four different chords like on a guitar. So like I wouldn't say I'm a professionally trained musician in any kind of way, but I like to think with practice in any kind of area, you're gonna get better. So
Yeah, I actually find that because I took guitar lessons for a really long time before I considered myself a good guitar player, and so I had kind of technical training on that instrument, and like if you didn't just hear my mad key skills in the beginning of this podcast, I'm teaching myself piano, so it's 2 completely different worlds of me hearing a chord by ear on the piano, and then me being, if I tried to play it on guitar, I know exactly what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a weird, like I'm training by ear on here and I have technical training in another. So it's kind of weird parallels.
No, I understand. I'm in that phase right now too where I started being able to write pieces for pianos, but I cannot find myself playing an entire thing all in one sitting without fucking up somewhere else,
It's all because I learned one song, and everything is kind of around the same thing I can do with that one song.
Was it the Black Parade?
No. Ding,
ding,
dong,
single.
ding. No, it's Love by John Lennon. I actually just did a production of it through this studio.
Okay.
Online.
Sick. That's dope.
So we kind of left off with you in junior high. So you go around, you're kind of singing, not really part of a band, but you know that you have a little bit of music talent. And then you get into high school. What kind of stuff were you doing in high school? Just playing to yourself, or did you get in anything at that time?
So I'm pretty sure the first band I ever joined, it was like a metalcore band called The World Above Us, and like
I remember that band.
Yeah, we were like, I'm pretty sure it was rather the end of 8th or the beginning of 9th grade. I don't remember. I was still in Evergreen though, and I don't even remember how I was offered to be a singer for it or anything. I couldn't tell you, but I did that, and that was kind of the first experience I got to play shows with the band. I didn't even know at the time. So, like, fun fact, I didn't even write lyrics for anything in that project when I first started. I didn't know how to write lyrics, how a song composition worked.
Right.
I literally was just there. I was given a place where they wanted me to sing something, and then like sing lyrics already there. I didn't.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even know how melodies worked and shit. So it's a lot of experimenting and a lot of failure. And that band ended up, I ended up not being a part of that anymore. And I think after that, me and Justin kind of reunited, and I think around the end of 9th, 10th grade maybe, we started a project with me, him, and another guy named Chase, and eventually a friend named Zach. It's like an acoustic project called Moments of Memory. And
okay.
Yeah, but that was like the second little thing I did. And that one was the first time I had gotten to record a song with a...
I was going to ask if y'all did any recordings.
Yeah, there's like a...
You have anything online?
If you go way back, I don't want to listen to it right now. But
Yeah, why not? This is where we listen to that kind of stuff.
Literally, like...
I'll show you some old tapes of mine.
I was literally in that level of where like I didn't know how to even control a vibrato, so literally every note sounded like a goat, a goat, just a goat singing on a mountaintop or some shit. And I just that was the first time I got to record something, and it was super cool. And I remember being like so like in awe of like going to this studio setup with a friend of mine now named Bimo. He lives out in BR still, and shout out
Baton Rouge.
He's Baton Rouge. Yeah, he's in a band called Hollow City. They're pretty cool. So
hell yeah,
definitely check them out if you get time.
Yeah.
But he he was the first person I recorded with, and
I'll talk about that a little bit too because I have some background in Nashville and audio engineering, and there were days where, we needed to record something to test out different gear and do different things in the studio. And sometimes I would miss lesson because every single time I wanted to be the one in the booth with the guitar because just I was in awe of that feeling of being in an ISO booth and feeling like a professional musician.
oh yeah, it's a crazy feeling, like hearing like what a song, especially in an isolated like a control room or whatever, is supposed to sound like without all of the air and shit around you, like being in a car. Like it's definitely probably the most magical thing I've ever got to experience.
Because it's kind of like when you're seeing like a marching band and you feel that bass drum in your chest.
Yeah.
It's a sound you've heard before, but you're experiencing it in a live, real way. Just like in the studio, that's like the purest way you can hear a studio mix because that's where it came from.
Yeah.
It was created to sound good in there, so it sounds good everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the master standard, if you will.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Not to get too deep into sounds.
Oh no. Yeah. We're very sorry.
No, that's fine. Man, so you do that through high school. Everything kind of builds up to where you are right now. Would you consider Hey Thanks your master project up till this point?
I like to look at everything like it's another stepping stone, no pun intended for Hey Thanks listeners. Definitely a stepping stone in where I've made it musically because I've been playing in and out of bands since I was a teenager, and I've gotten to play shows, go a little out of state. I mean, when I was in that acoustic band, we went on Fox one time, like in Bama and like Alabama, and played some kind of like live session thing for the TV. And
so y'all were on TV with Hey Thanks?
With my
with the acoustic
thing way back when I was like 14 or 15.
Right.
But that I had never gotten to really get much farther than that, and it seemed like a lot of bands I would join, we'd write a couple of good songs, play a set, have some shows, record a song or two, and then it would literally just kind of fizzle out. And I remember at one point being 18, I was working for Kellogg's, and I was honestly kind of giving up on the thought of music being a serious thing again, like just kind of putting it aside.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Hey Thanks is definitely the thing that re-sparked my drive to really like go full force with music. And a lot of it just has to do with the conditions and the way everything happened, because I didn't know any of those guys personally except Trevor vaguely, because he was in that band The Risen way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like when they were dead set on like trying to start tours and like getting out of the state and like going to different regions and seeing the country, and like I never had gotten to like even leave out of the state besides visiting family members. So when they jumped on that and I was getting laid off at Kellogg's, it was like the perfect storm for me to say like, fuck getting some full-time job where I'm just going to have a house and sit in it all day, and let's start fucking getting on the road and seeing places I've never been, get out of my getting out of my comfort zone. So while, I never am going to say something's the masterpiece of my career or whatever you'd say, it's the biggest moment of growth that I've had as a musician, because even through this band, I learned more about mixing. I learned more about engineering songs.
Right.
I learned more about song production. I've learned more about how it feels to be in a band of people who all are like really serious about their shit.
Yeah.
And wanna do stuff. So, it's been about 2 years now.
Only 2 years?
I think 2, maybe 2.5 years that I've been in the band.
Okay.
And since then, it's just been a constant like come up. We've been just trying to play more and more tours, going out, playing shows, writing, recording. Just really not trying to let the ball drop,
Right.
So
yeah, I'm really happy for you guys. First, why don't we give a shout out to everybody in the band?
All right, I guess I'll shout out Jammin.
Jaron was actually here. He couldn't stay long, but he's performing on a song we're featuring at the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
A little special nugget.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So right now it's me. We have our newest member of the band, Dave. He's our new guitarist. So everybody
Rhythm guitar, it doesn't matter.
Right now he's playing rhythm on a lot of the older tracks, but I don't ever like the box people playing. If there's a certain part somebody can do better and more efficiently, I like to use the whole aces in their places kind of system.
Yeah.
Like, just whoever plays something better or can do it better. Or if Dave writes a lead part, like let him play fucking lead. So,
I think that's the best way to do it.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy and say like, oh yeah, me and Trevor are like switching spots for an entire song, but maybe one day, Trevor. But yeah, so it's Dave is a new guitarist, Jaren's other guitarist. We got Alex on bass, skiddly diddly doo, and Trevor on drums. So I think for the first time in a while, in the last month especially, we got back from our tour in August. We've been like on a grind mode with songwriting. I could probably count about over like 60 songs that, some complete, some not, that are just like all demos for potential future songs.
Well, I've seen that already just from like this past week we've been talking, because you've got a whole discography on Spotify, which, by the way, go check out Hey Thanks on Spotify. And you have all these demos you've been showing me of new stuff like you haven't even thought of releasing yet because you're working on it. And then you have all these ideas that you've just been writing in the meantime that aren't even recorded.
Yeah.
You got a lot. You got a lot going on.
A lot of pressure. a lot of shit that I need to just finish.
Well, it sounds dope, man, and I'm really like honored to know you and be able to work with you. By the way, me and Travis are going to be working on a little nugget through the Attic Productions, and you should look out for that if I haven't released it before this episode. But I want to go back to something you were saying. You were saying you had gotten in with a full-time job with Kellogg's, and you had reached a point where you weren't sure if you were going to pursue music like you wanted to. Is that right?
Yeah. It's a hard thing. I think every musician or any person in an art field feels. You go through moments in life where like, even if you're doing the most for yourself, you're gonna only remember the stagnant parts of those movements, and you're gonna start questioning yourself and saying, "Hey, is what I'm doing time worthy? Am I living the best life I could be living right now?"
Yeah.
So there was a moment where you play music for 7 years growing up as a teenager with all these like pipe dream ambitions, and it starts to get a little underwhelming. So, I'd gotten offered a full-time job working as a sales rep for Kellogg's, and me and Justin had got a little house together on the east side of town, and I still had a little drum set up and everything, but I wasn't being as proactive with the situation.
Yeah.
So the more and more I started getting comfortable being in this full-time job, the more and more I started like music started becoming like the side to my journey.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing I learned about working for a full-time job is that when you say I'm going to work on my project, and then you always have this plan B in the back of your mind, sometimes plan A never really comes to its full potential because you're always having that safe zone. You have that safety net to fall back on. And sometimes if you don't just get rid of that safety net, you're not going to go any further. And sometimes you just need to go a little bit further than the safety net to get where you want to be.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, man, and I relate to that so much. I won't dive too deep into it because it's something I've gotten into these last two podcasts. But essentially, I went to Nashville. I came back, had all this knowledge of audio engineering, but no longer had any of the resources that I used to. So I thought I can't do anything until I get back to those resources. So I put everything on the back burner. I didn't work on it. I got a full-time job, and I attained that sense of security. But I realized even if I had financial security, that if I wasn't able to do what I set out for so long in Nashville to do and came back and just put no effort in, then it wasn't worth having financial security. I would rather be dirt broke and figuring out what I'm going to do day by day and focus on my dream and make that happen and move towards that than, feel empty after all. Because that's really what it's like. You have this job, even if you're getting paid super well. At the end of the day, there's that empty feeling of, I'm not pursuing what I care about.
No, absolutely. And like, that's a that was the thing that was really shitty about it, was that, you know, I had gotten this full-time job. I'd gotten enough to make payments and like just live in a house with another person and just be on my own. And, you know, for the first month, it was really kick ass and everything was cool. And then, you know, I had just like this mind trip where I was like, wow, this is right now what I'm doing is literally what people do once they get their career choice for the next 40 to 50 years of their life.
Right.
And then regret most of the things they stayed stagnant on in the last 5 or 10 years.
Right.
Have a mental breakdown. You know, I'd rather just go through my mental breakdown right now and, you know, face the fact that like I can't live a normal lifestyle. It's
right.
not something that I want to pursue right now.
And this may or may not have been a thing for you, but for me, it was also this fear of like my peers and everyone around me telling me how much of an idiot I am if I decided to throw something like a full-time job with benefits and everything away to pursue music. And you were right in your point earlier that, you know, you're never going to take it to the next level if you have a plan B in your head. If you're going sink or swim into music, then that's your full 100% effort, you knowing that my survival depends on, you know, making my dream a reality.
Absolutely.
And if you just, you know, I mean, like I'm doing it on the side right now, but I'm, you know, fully invested in the idea that this is going to be my future. And if in the future it takes off to a point where I have to give this up, you know, it may happen.
You know, and that's the way I look at everything, you know. I learned, like, if you're not taking chances on the thing you really care about because of security from something else,
yeah,
then that something else is the problem, and you have to eliminate it.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend anybody listening, like, if you have a dream or you have a goal, this sounds fucking cliche, but cut out that plan B, cut out anything that could make you feel like there's some kind of comfortability in the background if this doesn't work out. Mm-hmm. Because if you're trying to get into an art industry, you have to know that you're going to be a broke ass bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
You're going to be broke.
But that makes for a cool story when you do make it.
I mean, even outside of that, like let's get rid of like the underdog kind of like tale, and like just say like, if you are broke, but you're in pursuance of something that is generally going to speak out to the world or help somebody else, don't you think that when you get older, that would be more important than the amount of money you financially acquired
yeah.
in your whole life? Because, you know, one day you don't know if this country is going to be this way or this country is going to be that way. So why are you basing your life off of this establishment and not yourself, you know?
Right. Yeah, you're more than your environment. You're more than any institutions. You're you, and your creativity is its own. And all I have to say, Nike got it right when they said just fucking do it. That's the advice. That's the simple solution to if you're in a rut because you want to chase your dream, but you don't know how, or you don't know, what's the best way. You don't know anything. Just do it. Give yourself permission to fail because that's the worst outcome. And if you fail a million times and get it right once, that's all that counts.
Even moments like these, like if you feel like you don't know where to go,
hold the mic a little closer if you don't mind.
Sorry, bro.
Don't mean to throw you off.
And go. If you're in those moments too, where like, you know, you have these thoughts of not knowing where to go or not knowing how to even get to your dreams, start hanging out with people that maybe are on a pathway to do it. Start being around people that are more inspirational, because like, as much as you don't want to believe what your parents told you when you were young, the people you hang out with really do kind of influence your behavior and like, and the way you see the world, because, you know, it's good to collect multiple viewpoints and make your own conclusions, but that's what we're all doing. So when you have somebody that looks like they're doing something that you are inspired to also want to do, follow them, you know, be a friend with them. Like, it's okay to want to pursue the same interests as other friends too. You know? It's a team effort to grow, you know?
And I like when competition arises from those kinds of friendships, like healthy competition. Like,
that's our whole band.
Yeah.
That's our whole band.
Like if if I see somebody else on social media, they're working on an original song that they wrote and produced themselves and it sounds killer, I want to write something that competes with that, not to like outdo somebody, but to push myself to make something that's sounds really good, and to kind of match somebody I respect doing the same thing.
Absolutely. I get like, I always say like jealousy is okay. If you're using it to say like, oh man, I'm so proud of everything they've done, like it makes me want to push harder.
To encourage.
Yeah. Maybe jealousy is not the best word to use for that, but
yeah.
but I'm sure you get what I mean.
Yeah.
You just you take inspiration instead of negative energy from somebody else's accomplishments, and you say like, what can I do to make my part in this community? If we all have that mindset, then maybe one day the entire fucking world will just be a music community. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll all be pursuing our passions, and everyone will care about what they're doing, and no one will be ugly to each other.
Yeah.
Not all the time, at least. People will still be fucked up.
Can't stop the chop.
Can't stop the chop. Shit. Has there ever been a moment in your music career before now where you look at it and you go, everything has been worth it up to this point? Like a show that went well, a deal you got, just anything.
Yeah. A lot of times, it's always the moments I should be happy that I'm not, and the moments that you typically wouldn't be happy that I am. Because a lot of times, like, when I'm on tour, I have a lot of time to just dwell, and I get more depressed, like being on the road sometimes. But then a lot of times, when I come home and I get back into that normal, like, stable environment, I go back to saying like, wow, like this is all the shit I actually got to do. And I take much more appreciation for it in the wide spectrum of things. Because a good example I like to use is like this last year in May, we got to play with a band called Issues. The singer, Tyler Carter, he used to be in another band called Woe Is Me.
Are they local to Louisiana?
No, they're huge.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're not, like, they're like fucking, they're big, Like, they're a big band. They're signed to, I'm pretty sure they're still signed to Rise. I could be wrong on that, though. But, so when I was in high school, me and my friend, I had a friend named Cameron, not a Cameron next to me, but another Cameron, who used to, like, try to learn the cover to this Woe Is Me song that Tyler Carter would sing, called Fame Over Demise or whatever. So back when I was, like, 12 or 13, I'm looking at this guy on YouTube, and I'm like, man, this dude's really cool, and, like, he's a really good singer and stuff. And, who would have thought that me continuing this journey would have even gotten me to play with them and, like, actually get to go on their bus and hang out with them and talk to them in person and stuff. Like, it's weird how some slight thought can manifest into, like, becoming something,
Yeah.
Because I never would have thought I would have met Tyler Carter. It's just a random thing,
Yeah, it just one of those gifts the universe dropped on you.
Yeah, and those are moments where it's like, hey, maybe this show didn't necessarily like push us to the next level as a band or like get us on some like with some big package deal, but the experience that came from it was like more worth any moment I've ever spent dropping chicken at Chipotle. it's no hate on Chipotle, but like
shout out to Chipotle.
Yeah, the best food in town. Well, not in this town, but in New Orleans.
In a town.
A town somewhere that has less food options. But it's just the whole point of like, you have to like appreciate the good that comes out of the situations you get, because when you are in moments of touring, writing songs, you're gonna have good and bad moments, and a lot of times I feel like the brain likes to hold on to those really negative moments that made you feel the most insecure, because bad feelings are things you remember because you try to avoid them. So the hardest thing to do in any art industry is like take time to appreciate the things you do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's a lot of self-critiquing and a lot of, this is so bad compared to somebody else's thing. So, I think comparisons and all that shit should be kind of cast aside, and you should just have a moment to relax and say like, hey, this is all good. Like, none of this has been ill-intentioned. All has good purpose.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I feel the exact same way, unless you're a little bit narcissistic and you're in love with yourself.
See, that's the thing I'm talking about, is like, I think it's perfectly healthy to have an ego, mm-hmm. and to take pride in shit you do. But anything, any kind of emotion, honestly, you can go overboard with it. You can become radical with it. So like, don't let an ego of something you appreciate become, oh, I'm the best now.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's always a happy balance of being happy, but then understanding when to take criticism and learning how to use it constructively instead of trying to destroy other people's lives.
Right, yeah.
So
Definitely think a little dose of that is healthy.
yeah.
Because I'm usually really happy with, like, if I write a song and I start producing it and I get people on the track, I love the overall project. I start to hate my own individual details that I added to it, and I'm like, that could be better, that could be better. And then eventually I just give myself permission to say, I've done all I can do. Maybe it could be better, but if it sounds good enough right now, you gotta leave it at that.
Yeah, no, you're gonna mix, especially mixing. That has a giant rabbit hole you'll never get out of if you just keep trying to fix little things and like change things.
Yeah.
So
On the flip side of what I asked you before, every now and then, an artist will bomb from time to time. Maybe it's the circumstances, maybe it's the lack of practice that week, maybe it's whatever. Have you ever bombed as a musician up to this point?
in a live setting or like what?
Like a live show.
A live show.
Yeah.
So there was one time last year. I think we were playing our opening show, going to another Northeast tour. We started the show in Homa before we left out.
By the way, how many tours has it been so far with Hey Things?
I think we've done 6, and
6 tours.
and we're doing one, number 7, coming up in hopefully the coming months. We're working on it right now, but
Hell yeah.
yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd even get to do more than maybe one tour.
Right.
It's the fact that like it's been about 2 years and we're
2
like,
years, 6 tours. That's busy, Jack.
yeah, we're trying. I mean, anytime we're not trying to do these tours, we're trying to play shows here or trying to write. There's never really a break when it comes to the flow of a band.
Right.
So, what are we talking about now?
Bombing on stage.
Oh, bombing on stage. Sick. Oh, man. Sometimes I feel like ADD. I just like start I just start hyper focusing on things. But last year in October, starting up our tour, we were playing with a band called Vega and another band. I feel like an asshole right now because I can't remember. It's been like
It's been 6 tours.
it's been almost it's been an entire year actually, almost.
Yeah.
And this October will be a year since that show, but I remember that show very
Yeah.
detailed because I decided I wanted to smoke, for viewer discretion, tobacco pipe.
Green tobacco.
Green tobacco. I decided I wanted to smoke some green tobacco, and I did that right before we got on. And I usually don't smoke, or I don't like doing drugs or anything in general, but I definitely don't like doing it before I play a show because I'm way out of my element. And I decided to do it, and the entire set, I literally I couldn't even get notes to come out of my throat. It was like my throat felt so dry and closed up. I felt like I was like, I felt like I was wheezing when I was singing. Dang. So it was pretty it wasn't like embarrassing from an outer perspective, but for me inside, I was like, damn, I guess it's time to be straight edge. It's time to stop doing this.
I remember one time I played a show and my guitar was tuned down to drop D way before it needed to be. And I played a song and it sounded awful because most of the song was in E, so I was just playing with my lower string, but it's in D, so it sounds horribly out of tune. And I remember thinking at that time, which is worse, if I just stopped playing or if I just kept playing with a horrible sounding guitar?
Right. Dude, we had a similar experience. We played at Republic in New Orleans last year, and we played this thing called Emo Night. It's just pretty much a giant show where people come and get in their teenage costume attire and listen to old emo music from the early 2000s.
Excellent.
But we played a show there, did some covers, and we were covering "I Miss You" by Blink-182, and we were trying to translate the songs to all be in the same key because we didn't want to tune.
Yeah.
But we ended up just saying fuck it and deciding to play it in its normal tuning. But the problem was we were trying to get flow through the set so smoothly that one of our guitarists didn't tune up, so he was a half step down, and then the rest of the band was in the actual key.
Yeah.
So you had this one guitar, which is the main riff, playing a half step down, and then you have the rest of the band playing like a whole half step up. So the crowd's singing it in the right key, and I'm just sitting here on stage. Like, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to like sing anything right. Like, it's gonna sound wrong one way or the other. So like for the entire show, I just threw the mic into the crowd and I just let them sing the whole song.
That's one way out of it.
Yeah, I was just like, if they're all singing real loud, maybe they won't notice.
So that's a really good move to play it off. Like, I'm gonna let the crowd sing and you just avoid
I just
it all
like
together.
straight up just like, here, have the whole mic. Like y'all take it and just act crazy.
How do you go through those as a musician? Do you just pretend like nothing's wrong, or do you have a way of like nudging your fellow musician and being like, "Hey, fix your shit"?
We're not the kind of band where like we're so anal that like if we're already 30 seconds to a minute in a song, we're gonna stop it and restart it.
Right.
Like if we messed up, we're just gonna face the consequences. But definitely like I think the easiest way to tell if I'm fucking up something or if someone's fucking up something on our song is if you see me like hysterically laughing, or turning around facing the opposite way, or on my knees laughing, or just like shaking my head with like a smile on my face. Any of those are
something's going wrong.
Yeah, any of those, anything that looks like I'm having a good time means that it's terrible.
From now on, when you see Travis at his shows, unless he looks like he's having the worst time.
Yeah, if I look miserable, then it
went well.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
So, if you want to see some misery,
I actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to listen to a couple of Hey Thanks songs.
Yeah, I mean, we can.
Where should we start in this discography?
Let's start with the last EP. We could. We could just do the single if you want.
Missouri Business?
No, that is our newest.
Missouri?
That's like an acoustic track we released recently, but we have if you go to the Nothing It Would Change, Nothing I Could Say EP.
Cheap thrills, I know expensive.
Sorry, guys.
There she is. We recorded this back in last year in August and released it in January this year.
So where in the time frame of Hey Thanks did y'all record this? Like from your first track to where this came in?
Like the writing of it all.
Well, like by the time when was it released in the 2 years y'all been a band?
This so like I said, we recorded this whole EP out in New Jersey with a friend of ours named Gary Sione, and we went out last year, 2018, around August. We spent about a week or so out there, and spent 12 or 13-hour days just like writing these songs out and tracking them all down. And I think we released the single of this EP in November last year, and then the rest of the EP came out for January 25th actually.
Very cool.
It's been about, I think July 25th made 6 months that the EP has been out. So.
And you're already on to the next one.
Oh yeah. No, not gonna put anything set in stone, but I have enough songs right now where if I wanted to be lazy and just release any song, you could have maybe like 3 records of stuff. But
damn.
But probably only gonna see like maybe one of those.
Right.
Just one
because it
song.
takes so much to just make one.
Yeah. We're really trying to go all the way. We're taking a lot of time. This time coming, we got to spend more time when we released this EP on these songs, but this time around, like, I think we have the best visual of what we're trying to capture, and we've had the most time to work on them. So, I'm very hopeful that the next time we release stuff, it'll hopefully blow people out of the water, as they say. I don't know why they're in the water, but
Wasn't there talk of another video as well?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what song, but if you've listened to this EP before, we're gonna be doing a little filmy film thing. So let's just say in a week or so, if you wanna maybe be a part of this, DM me, and we'll talk. All right?
Yeah. Were you talking to me?
Anyone.
Oh,
Just
because I want to be a part of
the
it.
airwaves, you know. God can be a part of it.
Everyone.
God's already a part. He's everywhere.
He's
He's
anything
in this
and everywhere.
podcast right now.
Cameron,
God's a woman.
he's here.
Yeah, Cameron's God. I just want to acknowledge the fact that Cam has talked more than I thought he was going to talk in this podcast.
He did.
Yeah, this
I
is
thought you were gonna be a ghost.
fucking insane. Anyway.
Well, that was ironic.
Shit. Word.
So, this might be kind of a silly question, but of everything you've released so far, do you have any favorites?
Like of material already on Spotify?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the track right now we're listening to is definitely one of my more favorited songs. This EP in general, I enjoy a little bit more than the last EP we did in 2017 when I first joined, just because this is the first EP that like I got to have a lot of writing parts and writing elements, you know, as far as helping the rest of the band compose songs and stuff. And I feel like this record and going to New Jersey is what helped me establish songwriting better, understanding production better, you know, just understanding how a song is supposed to fit together better.
Yeah.
So, you know, this EP I think is like the opening door for me becoming better in the engineering and mixing realm of
Yeah.
future songs, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe production too, you know. Like I think that's my favorite thing is production actually. So.
Yeah. Once you learn those things, you don't forget them, and they stick with you throughout your entire career.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you become a full-on engineer or not, it's just like helpful to know like every side of something, so you know like where you need to go as a musician and what the production side will do for what you're doing. You know,
Absolutely.
it kind of helps you play. Man, I love you guys' music. Not blow
Appreciate
smoke, but
Nah, it's okay. I blew smoke yesterday. Not today though. Sober boy. Yeah.
so we're starting to reach the hour point, and but before we wrap it up, I have just a couple more things.
Yeah, let's get
Last
through it,
question I would say for you, Mr. Travis Opal, on this day of September 2019.
man. Wait, when is it getting released?
Maybe October 2019.
All right, on this day of October, 2019.
2019.
Our month of October 2019.
For this whole month, if you knew somebody who had talent as a musician but never told anyone, never had the courage to play live, and has a dream of making it in music one day, what's your number one piece of advice for that individual?
Like if somebody's trying to like actually become a part of the community and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
say you knew a young person between 18 and in their 20s, and all they have to do is just, what do they need to do?
I mean, it all starts with just, you know, writing and I mean, the simplest thing is like posting a cover of you doing something online. You know,
Yeah.
Like back then, it was probably a lot harder to communicate with people about you being a musician, but now it's, you know, the internet's the perfect tool. You don't have to even talk to people. You can literally start posting your stuff. Just finding social groups that like share the same kind of music jargon and like, you know, posting your stuff out there. You know, the easiest way I'd say to go about it is just, you know, figure out what it is exactly you want to be in the music field.
Yeah.
And then find those little Facebook groups or like, you know, get on Twitter and start just posting out there about what it is you're looking for. You know, you typically, you know, if you have a pretty good music community or you know a music community that you're just too scared to like go out of your way to be in, you know, there's not a lot of there's a couple, but there's not a lot of musicians I've met that are like assholes. You know, typically musicians,
Yeah.
they're gonna help you or like give you advice. You know,
Yeah,
they're
and
not here to fucking destroy you.
I'd like to emphasize that because I did spend a long time, like even in Nashville, either trying to pretend like I knew more than I really did, or just afraid to enter social groups like that because I knew everyone knew way more than me. And to anyone else who ever feels that way, hop into those situations and just ask questions. Don't be afraid to show that you don't know as much, because as soon as you get your questions answered, you're going to know more than you did.
Absolutely.
Not to bring it down on a
No.
serious level, but I'm serious. I want to
Yeah.
give some good advice for the Attic Productions listeners.
No, yeah. If you're young and you want to do this shit, just like start doing it. Like,
Just do it.
Don't make a date. Don't make a plan. Like, right now, if you're fucking home right now, just start, dude. Like, it's all gonna work. You're as one of my favorite bands, The Man, would say, in their current album release, you are okay.
You are okay.
Yes.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Jeez.
And the Attic Productions is okay. I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast so far. I have a lot of cool people who I'm lining up to do more podcasts with, and I'm ready to take it as far as it's gonna go. And thank you, Travis, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank Jaron as well. He hasn't been on the podcast, but he performed the song that we're about to transition into. Do you have anything you want to say about the song?
This is kind of a song I wrote, last year, and we recorded it actually with my friend Kyle. Kyle did a lot of the
Shout out to Kyle.
pre-production, and he works for KE Sounds, Lantern Lights. Go check that out. We recorded this beginning of this year and released it in June-ish, I think. And
Word.
it's an acoustic track we released. We wanted to just put something out that was a little less like band and a little bit more personable. It still sounds like a band, but
Yeah, but it sounds great.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, but it's definitely a little nice filler track. If you've been a fan of ours or a friend of ours for a long time, we just want to put music out for you. So
Fucking right.
hope
Well,
you like this.
follow the. And this is exclusive Attic Productions content, by the way. You won't get this anywhere else.
Baby.
And if you like what you hear, follow and like the Attic Productions on Instagram at the Attic Productions. Following us on Facebook at the Attic Productions 1, or just look up the Attic Productions. My name is Andre Olivier. Where can people find you and Hey Things?
At Rouse's.
At Rouse's. Rouse's down the bayou.
Down the bayou. No, on like Spotify, literally any major streaming platform, you can find us. We have a website, heythanksla.com. We sell merch. So if you want any kind of merch products from us on our site, we take Venmo payment, PayPal payments. Literally, you can find us on YouTube anywhere that you think is a social network. We're probably on it, and we're probably posting bad memes. So
yeah.
Just give us a follow. Hang out with us, talk to us, shit on us. Whatever you want.
I love it, man.
Love it.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank
and
you,
Cameron,
man.
thank you for being here as well. Any last words?
Hey,
Wait. Any last words, Cam?
hey, thanks.
Yo, straight up, fuck you. No, I'm kidding.
Here is Missouri Business by Hey Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
This is my typical response to distant behavior. Any thoughts you placed in my head, my brain's always capturing. I can't believe we see eye to eye. Just about everything feels so right. What a depiction, think I'm addicted, or at least I've lost my get yourself together now. If you would like to take a chance, you'll fall in love again. Remember where we've been. There isn't anybody else to stop those feelings that we get. Hands in my pocket again. Hands in my pocket again.